Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the Cindy Donaldson Show. I'm your host, Cindy Donaldson. I'm a certified high performance coach, full-time RVer, bucket list obsessed, and I am truly on a mission to make sure that everyone in my circle learns how to not only create, but live their life by design. And today, if you're watching on YouTube or social, you can see that I am not in the RV. I am in my daughter's office here in Connecticut. We are in full on prep to go to Alaska mode in the RV. So it's been on our bucket list for several years. And things like COVID and life kind of got in the way a few times for the plan. But if all goes well, and God willing, we are going to be spending the summer in Alaska. The planning of that is crazy. Like the way that Dave and I have our life right now is we really don't plan. We kind of go from spot to spot on whims. We stay as long as we want, we leave when we want, and there's really not a lot of planning besides, okay, what's next? So this trip to Alaska is a lot because there is a lot of planning. We're going from Connecticut, we have to go through Canada. There's a lot to see in the Yukon. Everyone says that's incredibly beautiful. And there are 8 national parks in Alaska, some of which you need a plane to get to. So there's a lot of planning. and, and although I'm a pretty good organizer when it comes to this stuff, I do have ADHD and it is overwhelming. There are so many details. And trying to kind of do that with all the stuff I have going on for work. Tomorrow, I'm doing an 8-hour training with the Connecticut Bakers Association. If you're watching this, it's April 15th here in the States, which is tax day. So everybody's a little cranky here today, even though we finally have some sunshine here in Connecticut. But tomorrow I'm doing an 8-hour training, so there's a lot going on, and I'm a keynote at a banking association, women in banking event at the end of the month. I have a lot of client meetings. It's a lot. And I really do need to take a step back and start planning this Alaska thing. That's my jam. Dave handles all the tech with the RV and all the mechanical stuff, and I play. So anyway, doesn't really have anything to do with what I want to talk about today, but that's kind of where my headspace is right now. What's on the agenda for today, though, is talking about your fourth quarter again. Now, I know I've done a podcast on this in the past, and I write about this a lot in my emails. But the more and more that I coach people who are Gen Xers or baby boomers, I realize that those two generations have so much deprogramming to do in their brain. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, it was all about being incredibly responsible. You go to school, you get a job. And I was a rebel back then because I didn't, I was sort of a rebel. Like I was, when I was in high school, I graduated top of my class and I wasn't the valedictorian. I was 3 or 4, something like that. But I got a full ride scholarship, pre-med to the University of Connecticut. And, I never really had these dreams and aspirations to be a doctor. I was just really good at science and math. And the funny thing is that I didn't get bad grades in English, but I struggled more with English class than I did in science and math. Science and math was easy because I could just go in, I would memorize it, I learned how to do it, and boom. Where the English part, I had to read books that didn't interest me. And back then, ADHD wasn't a diagnosis. So I realized I was really struggling trying to get into books like Moby Dick. Like, who gives a shit about Moby Dick? And I'm sorry for all of you call me Ishmael friends, but like to me that was boring. Like I couldn't focus to write about things. But then books that I really got into, I was excited when we got to read Kurt Vonnegut and stuff like that because it was interesting. And I did really well and I found it easy. In any event, I never had a desire to be a doctor, but because I was told in some stupid test my senior year in high school that, oh, according to your standardized test, you would be really good as a doctor or a veterinarian. And so I applied pre-med, I got in. Obviously, I am not a doctor. And I actually get paid a lot of money now for writing, and I don't do anything with science and math. Although I am fascinating and I do find myself on the med side of TikTok. So those algorithms are just wild. So I do follow a lot of that stuff and I am fascinated with it, but I'm more of a writer. And that's what I want to talk about, right? It's the fact that, my generation and the Gen Xers we were very much people pleasers and we did what we were supposed to do. Even though we were kicked outside, as soon as the sun came up, and yeah, we drank water out of hoses and we did a lot of crazy shit because there was nothing to do inside. There was no video games, there was no TV. We had a black and white TV with two channels. We got ABC and CBS. We didn't even get NBC, right? So Saturday Night Live, I had to watch that at friend's house. Like it didn't come on our TV. And that training that we got very early on, though, doesn't easily leave. And so as I'm coaching these Gen Xers and baby boomers who are on the verge of retirement, and many of them are dealing with empty nest syndrome all at once, right? I had my kids in my 20s. It's wild that, my oldest is going to be 35 in a couple weeks. I'm 61. But I have friends with kids in high school and college still that are my age, right? Who are my age. And so now they're dealing with this retirement thing, empty nester, like, and they have no clue what they're supposed to do with their life. And it's magnified incredibly because of the way that we were brought up. If you think about it, like our grandparents, people born in the Depression, like my parents were both born right after the Depression. My grandparents lived through that. And that changed them. Now we have a whole generation that has lived through a pandemic, right? And who have lived through economic woes and like these constant wars happening. That will change them. Like that surrounding the nature versus nurture thing will define how they live their life. A lot of people make fun of the millennials for drawing a hard line in the sand, and they say that they're lazy and they're not motivated and, they are entitled. But they will never, never, at least the ones that I've run into, including my children, will never put work before happiness, will never put work before their health. It just doesn't happen. And good for them. Good for them. Good for them. But our generation and the Gen Xers, hell no. Like we will drag ourselves to work, and so this is the thing that makes me sad. I always used all my vacation time. I really believe in that. But there are so many people that don't use their vacation time. In America, we have so much unused vacation time because here we're afraid, like, oh, I might need it because I get sick, or, I'll roll it over to the next year. It's really sad. And so what happens is, people put off things until tomorrow. And then tomorrow sometimes doesn't come, right? If you've been around me a hot minute, you know that both of my parents died very young. My mother was 45, my dad was 66. And that drives this obsession of mine with bucket lists. It drives my obsession with doing what I do. It drives my obsession with making sure that people understand that time is finite and that you don't always have a choice to do it tomorrow. And maybe, just maybe, your purpose here on earth is the journey. It's not the title. It's not the house. It's not the car. It's not how much money you have in the bank. It is the journey. It's how you show up every day. It's how you treat yourself. It's how you treat others. It's how much joy you get out of the simple things in life, like going outside and putting your feet on the ground and just smelling the air, or going to the ocean and dipping your toes in the water, or going up in the mountains and just watching a grizzly bear eat. Maybe that's the journey that's important. Not how much money, not the house, not the Joneses. But I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised that way at all. In fact, I was raised that, you put the money in the bank and you save it for retirement. You save it for emergencies. You don't take frivolous vacations. You don't spend money where it's not needed. And I'm not saying that you should just be wild and go blow your money and not save it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't have millions of dollars in the bank and hundreds of days of vacation time and waste that, because time is finite and you have no control over how much time you have, right? You just don't. And I think the younger generation gets that. And the more that I spend in this nomad world that I live in, I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary of living full time in my RV, traveling around the country, sold my house and everything in it. Hence the reason I'm at my daughter's house right now recording this. That culture is very different. The majority of people my age are retired, right? And I see this all the time. They retire, they have looked forward to this forever, so they sell their house, or some of them keep their house. They buy this, gorgeous RV, they start traveling, and then one of them gets sick. And then I'm in a lot of forums and I see it all the time. Oh, my husband or wife just got a cancer diagnosis, or we can't travel anymore and we have to sell it. So we worked so hard for this and we only got to travel for 2 months. That's not today, Satan, in my world, right? So I live every day like I'm dying. I live every day like tomorrow is my last, or today is my last, right? Because I don't know. I don't know. And I watched my parents, who were never really happy. I wouldn't say they were bad. They weren't bad people. They were just miserable and unhappy. And I want to say a little like kind of misdirected. And there's so many people in my age group who are still doing the grind at their job. And again, I'm not saying that, going to work every day is a bad thing. It's not. Like you have to earn money to support your lifestyle, right? I still work. But I found work that fulfills my soul. Like I'm not in a job that makes me miserable, and I am not beholden to the almighty dollar. I would much rather have experiences than money. And I don't worry about 10 years from now. I don't. I don't worry about it. I really don't worry about it. Like when I I can't say it enough. I don't worry about the what ifs of tomorrow. My stressor right now is like I have to have a colonoscopy in the next couple of weeks. I got to deal with that, and I have to plan the trip to Alaska. Let me reshift that. I get to plan my trip to Alaska. I don't have to do anything, right? Although the colonoscopy, I really should do it, and I am. So, but the the point is, so many people my age are waking up and going, "Holy shit, I'm 60. Holy shit, I'm 55. My kids are grown up. Like my only identity in life is as a parent, as someone who drops the kids off at school, someone who does the homework with the kids, or you are a spouse, or you are the president of a company, or you are whatever." And when they come to me and they're like, "I'm really unhappy," like I don't know, and I listen to them, and 99.9% of the time I'll say back, I'm like, "Well, you're unhappy because you have no idea who you really are." And I'll get the pushback. "Well, I'm a great mom. I go, "No, no, no, no. Those are titles. Like, who are you? Have you ever spent time to dream about what you really want? And let's forget about societal norms. Let's forget about what you're supposed to do. Like, what in your soul makes you happy? Have you, do you even have a bucket list?" Most people don't have a bucket list. They don't. And the bucket list is more than this list that you dream about. It is a very powerful tool that teaches your brain, if you're intentional with it, that teaches your brain what you want out of life. And then your brain looks for those opportunities to fulfill that list. Law of attraction, law of manifestation. That's how that happens. And it's why the bucket list is so important. When you start putting your needs higher, again, I'm not saying, to ignore your family members, ignore your friends, and become this completely narcissistic jerk. No. but don't feel guilty about fulfilling your personal needs, about what you want out of life, right? If I had listened to people in my life, I wouldn't be dating Dave. I wouldn't have sold my house. I wouldn't have started the multiple companies that I started. I wouldn't have stopped dyeing my hair, let my hair go gray. I wouldn't have big red glasses because, oh, those are a little different. And there's so many things. I wouldn't go hiking on some scary hikes. You know, there's always going to be naysayers in your life. There will always be people that will tell you you're crazy and that you shouldn't do something or that you can't do something or that you're not capable, you're not smart enough. The secret to happiness is learning how to create the boundaries to say no to the things that don't serve you and yes to the things that do serve you. And because this is something that I'm so crazy passionate about, and I get so many emails and I do so many consultations on this, and I coach so many people about it, I decided to do a free workshop on April 30th. So if you're actually watching this in real time, I'm doing it on April 30th. I'm doing a live stream on YouTube. And you can get all the details on my website. It's cindy-donaldson.com. You can register there. I am recording it, but only the people who register, because I'm actually giving away a free book. And it's all about your bucket list and how to create the bucket list and live a purposeful life. Like I said, the bucket list is more than just a list. It changes you when you really embrace it. I completed my bucket list, the first one, right? All of those things that I want to do before I die, I've done them. I've done them. And then I was in this weird space of, now what do I do? Like, what do I do next? So I created another bucket list and then I did that one. And I was sharing this with my mentor, and he's like, Cindy, you haven't lived if your bucket list is all checked off. It means that you've stopped dreaming. So you need to have a bucket list that just keeps going. On your deathbed, you should be adding things to your bucket list. And I'm like, amen to that. So that's what I have now. I have a journal and I just keep adding things on. Like, I actually have a separate bucket list for our RV travels. I actually created it for Dave before we hit the road. And it has 50 sections for all 50 states. Oh, actually 51, because I put Washington, D.C. in there as well. And on each of the pages, I wrote down some incredible, wild, and fun things that we should do in each state. And then as we go to the state, we find things, obviously, and we add them in. And it's really capturing our 50 state bucket list thing. And it's really kind of fun. It's really fun. And the more that I think about my life and how I've been able to do all the things that I do, it comes down to one simple thing. I wanted it. I wanted it badly enough to actually take action and do it. I wanted it badly enough to do the hard work on me, which meant, a lot of therapy and to get over the shit that was indoctrined in my head when I was a kid. Gotta love the 60s and 70s. It's bad enough our mothers smoked all through, all through their pregnancies and smoked while we were in the car with the windows up. But, it was a crazy time. And it was a whole other world back then. But I don't even know. See, now I'm on a rabbit hole of my youth, and I can picture, driving in the car with no car seats, no seat belts, and the smoke. It was like Cheech and Chong. But anyway, the more that I think about my life and how I've been able to achieve it, it's really, going through the therapy, getting beyond the trauma, that generational trauma that happened in my life. And some of you may not have that. And if you do, you need to go to therapy, right? And then I spent a lot of time working with different coaches. And I've learned that, I worked with coaches for specific things that I wanted to accomplish in my life. And I've worked with mentors who really helped me. And now I solely work with a mentor, a business mentor. But he also does a lot of life coaching with me. And I really like that combination. He's not afraid to call me out. He challenges me and does, but I am very willing to be honest with myself and recognize the stuff that's holding me back and recognizing, what I want. and doing the hard work on me to to create the game plan to move beyond the roadblocks. And it's not one and done, right? Like I've got these 12-week programs that are amazing and they're incredibly life-changing, and I coach people through them. And I always say, like, listen, 90 days is a magic number because you can do a lot in 90 days. You can really shift your mindset in 90 days. But this isn't over. It's not one and done. It's not like you coach with me for 3 months and all of a sudden your life is like, perfect and you don't have to do the work anymore. No, I'm just teaching you the tools on how to do the work. Right? I've sort of combined 30 years of all the shit that I've learned and really put it into 90 days. And do I coach with people beyond 90 days? Yes, absolutely. There are people that I've coached now for years, but the 90 days is the minimum that I'll work with somebody because it takes 90 days really to understand who the hell you are, create a game plan, and then create some really good habits on how to move forward with that. I'm getting a little off track here, but when I, think about the things that I've learned in my life, that's what it is. You have to want something badly enough to do the hard work on yourself because change isn't always easy. Like I like change. Change doesn't freak me out, but that doesn't mean that it's not hard. And the older that I get and the happier I am with my life, the harder that seems because I am no longer driven by survival. My driver is more thriving. And so there's not the sense of urgency unless I put that urgency on myself. And that's not something that I really want to do in my fourth quarter of my life. So the urgency needs to be based on, oh, I get to, and I'm excited to do something versus I have to. Today's tax day in the States. So yes, you do have to file your taxes or an extension, pay the man, but there's not a lot of things that you have to do in life. And if you don't pay your tax, like you don't have to pay your taxes, but then, eventually it's going to come get you. So you're going to have to deal with it at some point. But that shift of I get to versus I have to, the shift in my mind that, I can do, be, and have anything in life that I want if I want it badly enough and I'm willing to do the work on me is powerful, is incredibly powerful. And yet I get pushed back on the, well, I can't be president of the United States. I was like, okay, like why? Like, you can if you want to, it's like today's is Patriots Day here in the Northeast, which means it's Boston Marathon Day. And I had mentioned like I no longer run because of my knee. And I said to myself, like, wow, I would like really love to run again and qualify for the Boston Marathon. Like that would just be so cool. And could I do that? Yes, I could go out and I could train. Would I probably have to have more knees? Like there's a lot, and it would be really hard because I haven't run it a long time, and you have to qualify for Boston unless you do a charity thing and raise a sick amount of money. But I would want to do it as a qualifier, right? Because that's that's the that's the thing if you're a runner to BQ to Boston qualify. And then I reminded myself if it's something that I really wanted to do, like I could do it. I could be all in. I could get could hire a running coach and I could get back at it and I could put in the grind and I could take a couple years out of my life and solely focus on becoming a Boston qualifier and I could do it. But the thing is, I don't want it badly enough. I don't want it badly enough. So I will cheer on my friends who are running today and I will cheer on other people and live vicariously through them because I don't want it badly enough. And that's okay. Doesn't make me broken, doesn't make me lazy, doesn't make me anything except that I don't want to BQ badly enough to go do the work. But do I want to go to Alaska for the summer badly enough? Hell yes, I do. Do I want to help other people see that anything is possible? Hell yes, I do. Do I want to live to be a wild and woolly 100? Hell yes, I do. Do I want to not let people control my destiny? Do I want to have control over my own destiny? Do I want to have solid boundaries? Yes. That's stuff that I am so passionate about that I will do what it takes to get where I want to go. So this workshop that I'm doing on April 30th, like if you are viewing this in real time, join me because I am going to talk a lot about that and give you some tools that will help you. Like I said, I'm 61 years old. I've learned a lot in this lifetime about this, and it breaks my soul when I see people who are just on that hamster wheel that makes them miserable. They're in a relationship that makes them sad. They're in a job that makes them sad. They're completely freaked out over, oh my God, what will happen if? Calm down, calm down. Like, you have no control over what might happen in 20 years. You have no control over what your kids are going to do. You have no control over how long you're going to live. The only thing you have control over is how you react to any situation and how you show up right now, how you show up to other people, how you show up for yourself, right? Learning those skills will make you happy. It will make you happy. It will make you fulfilled. It will empower you and give you the confidence to go do whatever hell you want in life, let go of societal norms, and just go live your life by design. That kitschy saying that is so overused, yet it's the way I live my life. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Do people think I'm crazy? Yes. I actually had some person on TikTok the other day tell me my voice is really annoying. I'm like, well, then don't listen to me. You have the power not to watch my videos then. You have the power not to listen to my podcast if I annoy you. But I know that I resonate with a certain group of people and I inspire a certain group of people. And I'm going to keep doing that as long as I can still help people. As if I can help one person change their life and go from, feeling shitty about themselves, feeling shitty about their life, and feeling like there's no hope, feeling that they can't do something, to the opposite of feeling happy and fulfilled and feeling like they can accomplish anything that they want in life, then I'm just going to keep showing up because it's my legacy. It's a huge part of what drives me. And, like I said, there are so many people my age, 50s, 60s, and 70s, who are hitting empty nest, retirement, dealing with aging parents who are sick and dying, and dealing with maybe being grandparents for the first time. And they have no direction, no clue as to who they really are and what they want outside of those titles of being caregiver, of being parent, spouse, partner, worker. And there's so much more to life than that. There's so much more to life. So cheers to you, millennials who figured it out, because our generation, man, we have a lot of work to do. So again, I'll see you on the webinar. It's totally free. You get my free book about bucket lists. I lay it all out and how to create your bucket lists and how to dream about them and how to actually start checking them off and not feeling freaking guilty about it. It's going to be amazing. So thank you for spending time with me today. This truly just warms my soul every time I make one of these podcasts because I don't know, it's my purpose. It is my purpose. And I did do a lot of work to make it happen. And I hope my words resonate with you. So go have an amazing day. Take care. Bye.